We are just a few days away from the one-year anniversary of the day that Michael Brown was murdered in Ferguson.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, you know, this morning on my way in, on Camo X, the first 4 top local news stories were about Ferguson.
Huh.
There were some gatherings and riots last night, even with all the rain. So there's a lot of anxiety in the air. We don't know where that'll go, so we asked, should I say Reverend Keith Clinton? No, you don't say. You are a minister.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
yes, I am.
And
And
that's
also,
when you go out to eat. They can go, Reverend. I call you
he's
over
actually
the
the
thing.
pastor, so they might say pastor. And a teacher.
Mr. Clinton, Mr. Reverend Clinton. Yeah.
Former stand-up comedian, so the guy's dangerous.
Oh, how about that?
And author.
Well, were you a comedian first or a reverend first?
No, I was just Keith first.
Oh, yes, but I mean,
And all of these gifts came out over a period of time.
But
I became, I was a comedian first.
your speaking
Yes.
skills, because that's
Yes.
hard.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
think that you would have it would go the other way around. You could speak in front of your parish.
Parishioners.
And, parishioners, yes, and then take the confidence to doing comedy, because that's harder.
Right. I probably was a minister first and just didn't realize
Getting
it.
hard.
Yeah, that's good though. That's a good combination. So okay, so you wrote a book.
He wrote it.
You have
Yeah,
no anger. I see it.
No,
Manage Anger Now 101, Diffusing a Nation, and very timely. Now, Keith, you also grew up in North St. Louis, right?
Yes,
So you're very
yes.
close to this issue and the troubles we have in St. Louis.
Oh, absolutely.
That's actually an excellent title, right on, because that is the thing. There is anger underneath everyone, and nationally now with everything that is spawned from that. And then what is this, a serious? Is it funny? What is it?
Well, it's a serious issue, serious book. However, I add some of my personal humorous stories in the book. But I believe personally that we are all one conversation or one situation away from exploding or imploding.
Really?
I believe that we all have to deal with the issue. Often as professionals, we've learned how to mask that pain and that anger. So I think it's a serious issue that we all need to keep at the forefront. Because I believe, when we look at what's happening around the country, that's what it really comes down to. People not being able to properly manage their emotions. And it often spills over into
On both
violence.
sides.
We're not
Yes,
taught
absolutely.
that. We're not taught that. And what interests me about this book is that you admittedly wrote it as a learning process.
Oh,
that you
absolutely.
knew
Yes.
you needed this.
Yes.
And you're basically sharing what you've learned with us.
Yes.
I don't think there's any
Yes.
better way to do that.
Yes, my own personal experience really one of the things that provoked me to write this book in the workplace. But I removed myself from the situation, and I had time to really reflect on whatever was the cause of it and all the things that was going on. And I began to put my thoughts on paper, and then I shared it with my wife, and I said, I think I really have something special here. And so she encouraged me to go forward.
And
so-
now
so we're here.
you actually go out speaking to groups and
Yes,
organizations.
yes,
Principals too.
Well, that's what better role. But do you recommend what to do for people?
Yes, I give strategies and methods to try to help diffuse situations when you encounter conflict with another person. So practical things, some things that we need to do. First thing, just make sure that you breathe properly, and, and if there's immediate danger, try to remove yourself immediately from the situation and give you time to calm down and think.
But what about overall, like as a nation, where there's this, heat
Underlying
and resentment and qualified in many ways? How do you deal with that, or do you deal with it?
Well, the scripture says to be angry, but do not sin. So I think people often can be justified in their anger. It's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to lash out and hurt other people.
You need to
in your anger.
use that anger and turn it into a positive action.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And that's what we talk about in the book, about helping you to take that energy that's associated with anger and direct it in a positive and constructive
I
way.
think the first step is recognizing that you're angry at the moment, knowing that you're about to actually lose control of the conversation.
But
whereas
don't
you can't
think
control
sometimes the anger gets a better result, or it gets noticed more so than the peaceful.
That's the problem.
It's just like the news.
Right.
I mean, the bad news gets the ratings.
That's how babies operate.
Unfortunately, that's the way it ends up. But I think that you could express your anger in a positive and constructive way and bring about change.
Okay. That's the important thing.
Yes.
So that if you could do that, that would be fabulous.
Well, look what happened out of my anger.
Yeah, exactly.
I stepped away from the situation, wrote a book. A poem came out of it. Music came out of it. So that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do and help them to do that, whether regardless if it's in the workplace, in the school, in the home.
Now, in the coming days, over this next week, and we're already seeing it, even with, like I said, all the rain this week, it did not discourage people from showing up in Ferguson and expressing their anger because there were promises made a year ago, and it takes time to do things, but it's very understandable that people who live there look around and say, is anything really happening? What do you say to them?
I think some positive things have come out of what was happening here in Ferguson. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that are changing, and I think we will see change over a period of time. And again, I encourage people really in the book to look at themselves. It's easy for us to, when we talk about this issue, to say them and those is someone else. But I'm asking people, encouraging people to reflect on their own emotions and feelings and how they handle conflict.
And, to be able to articulate that, because I think, and this is a generalization, in the beginning, it was, okay, there's a lot of anger. What do you want to happen? And then it was hard to figure out, well, what can you ask for to happen, except an overall...
That's a good point, Joy, because communication breaks down when people get angry. Like I said, you lose control of the conversation. It no longer is a conversation, it's a confrontation. And you need to be able to converse, and part of conversing is listening. And you quit listening when you get angry.
Yeah, and we addressed that in the book about communicating and listening.
Maybe you should be
I've been married to her for 40 years. I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
102.
And that's where it starts, and in the home, and I talk about that is communication between husband and wife in the book, so we address, that as well. So communication is extremely important when it comes to dealing with this topic, communicating with yourself internally. That's right. And I don't think people really take time out to do that.
That's listening also. Listening to yourself, realizing my breathing just got heavier, I'm breathing faster, my heart is pumping more for a reason. And that's because I'm angry. Right. And I can slow that down.
And in the book, I talk about how to identify trigger points. That's crucial. You should know what makes you angry. And so when
I know it makes her angry, and that's really all really counts.
And so you push that button all the time, right?
Thank you for writing this and
where
sharing
can we get it?
Well, you can order the book offline, manageangernow.net. Also, you can purchase it at some of the area Walgreens stores as well.
Oh, that's good. That's very, and I noticed that they were strategically located Walgreens stores, mostly north of Del Mar.
Yeah, temporary.
So, right. At least, that was a good place to get them in there
start.
Right now. Yeah, get them in there now. Well, good. Please look for it.
Do I have an opportunity to share a quick poem?
Sure, yes, please.
Okay, this is a poem that I believe that reflects a lot dealing with this subject matter. Okay. It's masking the pain and the shame of my past, wondering how much longer it's going to last, confused about how I ended up here, hoping that true love will soon appear, hoping that true peace will soon draw near. Trapped in the colossal prison of my mind, praying that the true me will one day shine. Can they hear? Can they see? Do they know? Do they even care that the anger in me is the result of the pain in me? But today, I'm releasing the pain and the shame of my past. Yes, it's my past. Yes, I will last as I unmask the pain and the shame of my past. Like a spring of living water, his spirit consumed me. Now I have the courage to be me, with the realization, the understanding that the Most High created you and me to be free, body, soul, and spirit.
May God continue to bless you, Keith Clinton.
Thank you.
That is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this segment is made possible through the generosity of Nighthawk Security. We thank them. They're locally owned and operated, monitored here in St. Louis since 1974. They will install, service, maintain, and monitor your security system or take over an existing system. Call 846-4600 and ask for Joe.